everybody. I'm gonna switch my here in a second. Hi. I'll just wait a couple minutes to see if anybody joins me. Hello to replay viewers. If you're watching on Periscope as a replay, or if you are on YouTube catching this, hello. Good to see you here. Hello. I don't know about you guys. I've got my heater going right here beside me while we're waiting for some others to join. I'm cold. I am really cold. It was about 50 degrees earlier this week, and then one day we got about 3 inches of snow in an hour, and then it snowed all day. And then yesterday it was like 60 degrees and all muddy and soupy, and then today it's back down to 40 some degrees. So I'm cold. My body is having a hard time adjusting to all these waves of temperature, but I guess that's my state for you. Anyway, for the replay viewers and the ones joining on with my Amelia James, basically this is for anybody who's opening a small business or retail store. I just want to provide some information that I found. Hi, Lindsay. That I found just as I've been researching and trying to figure out what I'm going to do for my company with my Amelia James. And hey, it's your first day on Periscope. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. But first of all, I want to start off with, if you decide to go with my Amelia James and purchase a kit, don't do what I did. I just went to pay for my invoice, and my my bank blocked the charges because they didn't recognize the my Amelia James name, so they thought it was a fraudulent charge. So they actually didn't let my charge go through. So I had to call the bank this morning to ask them to allow charges to go through to my Amelia James. So just before you purchase your kit, if you are using a bank card or a credit card, it wouldn't hurt you just to call and let them know that you are making a large purchase and to allow the charges to go through, because you don't want to have to wait another day or two to get your order finalized. So that's where I'm at right now. But anyway, we're talking about what do you do with the business side of things once you've decided to go into business. And I want to make a disclaimer. I am not a tax professional. Numbers and me just do not get along. My husband's the math guru in my family. So is my daughter. So I'm not a tax professional. I am not an employee of a state or federal government. I don't work for the IRS. I'm not an accountant. So I'm just telling you what I've learned from my research. Don't take what I say as law, because I could be wrong, and it varies state by state. So what I'm telling you is what I found out for Iowa. Some of that might be true for other states you're in. I just want to help you guys out with getting your business up and running too, because I've done a lot of research, and if I can save you some time, I would love to do that. So first of all, the business side of things, what you want to do is really you've got to start with your business plan. And here's why. Your business plan is going to set the stage for everything you do after. So your business plan is going to talk about how you want to sell your products, where you want to sell them. Hi, Stephanie. It's going to tell you what your finances are, what you look like for profit, who you're going to market to, and you need to know that stuff before you go into the next steps of the not so fun side of opening a store or going with my Amelia James. I'm thinking LuLaRoe and Agnes&Dora are very similar. Again, my Amelia James is not a multi-level marketing company right now like those other two, so we do have a little bit more freedom in where we can sell and what we can do. But I think some of these other laws might apply to LuLaRoe as far as taxing, tax permits, and sole proprietorship versus an LLC. That's what I'll be talking about too. I'll also be telling you about your EIN number with the government. So just make sure that you have your business plan at least somewhat formed and written down so that you know where you're going, because this is going to be really hard to do if you haven't done that. There's a couple places that you can get help with a business plan. Something that I've been doing a lot is I've been following someone named Kathy Wright. And she has an organization called the Business Boutique. If some of you have heard of Dave Ramsey, she's highly endorsed by Dave Ramsey. What she does, she goes around the United States and holds conferences for women, and she is geared solely towards women opening business. Her slogan is something about helping women make money doing what they love. And so she takes you through the whole process. She has podcasts on her website that I've been listening to. She has a free download for building your marketing plan, and she puts it like as cake tiers to make it really easy with your steps that you follow. And she has a book right now that I'm pre-ordering actually today, and it's called A Woman's Guide to Making Money. And she also gives you great information as far as how to build a business plan. You've got an idea what to do. You've already have your idea in place. You know what you're going to do. Here's what you do next. Hi, Jen. So Kathy Wright Business Boutique is a great place to check out. That's what I've been using personally for a lot of my stuff. I also reached out to the Small Business Administration. They are located in every state. They are national. So your state should have an office of the Small Business Administration, and then within your state you should have regional offices that cater specifically to where you live. So I have a regional office that's about an hour away from me, but she would meet me halfway, like 30 minutes away if we wanted to meet. They have been so helpful. They've helped me with the sole proprietorship versus LLC stuff. Their services are all free. So if you need help writing a business plan, they will help you with that. If you need help finding funding sources, if me and my husband are working on doing this debt-free, so we're just using our own finances. We're trying not to finance outside. That's just the way we want to do it. But if you need funding sources and need help that way, the Small Business Association or the Small Business Administration will be able to help you find those. They will do market research. Yeah, best way to do it. Small business, they know what they're talking about. They deal with this. They also will help you with market research. So they'll help you know how to market to your customers and where your customers are at based on your business. And that's another reason why you need your business plan, because if you don't know who your customers are, you can't really utilize all these services that these organizations offer. So the Small Business Association, or I always say it wrong, Small Business Administration, their website is www.sba.gov. So I would encourage you to go there and check out all the great information that they have for you. I called them on a Sunday and left a message, and then Monday morning, first thing, they had already called me back and was helping me answer all my questions that I had. Okay, so number 2, we talked about a business plan. We've talked about some resources available to you for helping you with your business plan, Kathy Wright, and then the Small Business Administration. So the next thing, the question that we're finding, some of us that are in the same business together, is do I do a sole proprietorship or do I do an LLC? Oh, good, I'm glad. I just want to help everybody not have to do all the work. You need to find out what your state says, but if I can help you with some of that, because I've already done the work, why make you guys work extra when someone else has already done the work, you know? Just share our information with one another. That's what it's all about. So here's my understanding of a sole proprietorship versus an LLC. A sole proprietorship is basically you are just going into business by yourself. You are keeping your personal finances the same as your business finances. So you may have a checking account and a personal checking account, and you might go write a check for your kit for My Amelia James to get your inventory, and that comes out of your personal account if you want it to. It doesn't have to be in a business account. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend keeping those separate, whether you go with a sole proprietorship or not, just because you don't want to get to the end of your month and have to go pay your bills for your house and not have groceries for the month because you spend it all on your business. So it's good just to keep those separate. Yes, please do keep those separate. That would be number 1, numero uno, whether you do sole proprietorship or LLC. Keep your accounts separate. So a sole proprietorship is very easy to form. It's very easy to solve. All you do is get online. It takes about 3 minutes. You fill out a form on the government's website and you're done. You're registered as a sole proprietor. When you go to your bank, your checks will probably say your name. So it would say my name, Jill, DBA, doing business as, and then the name of my boutique or My Amelia James after it. I actually am planning on naming my boutique and then saying featuring My Amelia James. So I will probably go the LLC route because I want my boutique name as my business name and not people having to write this big long check, Jill Baldwin, DBA, Adorn Boutique, featuring My Amelia James. That's just too much. So You have all the rights to all the profits after the payment of your business-related expenses, bills, and taxes. So that's the great thing about sole proprietorship. It can all just, you decide what you want to go to your checking account. Whatever you want, you take. There's very minimal legal requirements with a sole proprietorship. You will want to go ahead, if you will have to come up with a trade name, what you're doing business as, and you will need to register that, because if there's someone else using that, you just need to make sure that that's available for you to use. Now, the one downside for the sole proprietorship, would be the only reason why I wouldn't do it, is because you are personally financially responsible for anything that happens with your business. So say your business goes into debt and has to close, and what do? Well, you personally would have to file bankruptcy, or they would be able to take your house, your car, anything that is yours personally, any of your assets. They would take those. If you have a savings account, a personal savings account, they could take that to pay for your business bills if you default on those or anything like that. So you really don't have much protection in a sole proprietorship. I lost my place, sorry. Yes, best to try to run debt-free. That's what I'm trying to do. There will be a couple little things I'll have to do, but we've figured into our business plan too how long it would take me, what I need to sell to pay that back, and how to do it the quickest way. We figured percentages of, so say I get my $1,000 starter kit, this is how much I'm going to sell out of it. So out of that, this percentage goes back to inventory, this percentage goes back to paying the small debt, the maybe $200 I take out on a card to get supplies, and then the rest goes into my pocket or wherever I want it to be. So let's put that down for a second. Why don't you go play your game, okay? Thank you. So that's the sole proprietorship. So also you're limited in a sole proprietorship to whatever your own personal financial ability is. So if you go to a bank and you want to take out a loan for your business, you are limited to what you're personally able to do, or what the bank says that you are able to do, because they're going by your personal credit report. They're not going by anything business. So you might be limited in that way. This is my son. Hi. Can you go on so I can finish talking to these lovely ladies? Yes.
It was under.
Okay.
On the couch.
Okay, we'll put it away. Thank you. Sorry, guys. Yeah, he is so sweet. He's 4, but he looks about like 6 or 7. He's huge for his age. So sorry, he probably will keep coming in and interrupting. You guys know how it is with kids. One is gone for the day, so I'm like, this is a good time. And of course, as soon as I turned the phone on, he stopped doing what he was doing. Oh, were you talking about the cat? Or my son? He's an angel too. Okay, so that's Bandit. Bandit was born at our house. We've had him since he was born, basically. So, okay, yes, both. Okay, so the sole proprietorship, again, you're limited on what you can borrow if you need to borrow for your business with what your personal credit report says. So here's the advantages to an LLC. So think of an LLC as a cheap insurance policy. You pay in Iowa $50 to register as an LLC, but what that does is it keeps your personal side of finances and your business side of finances separate. So say someone comes to your boutique or wherever you're at, or a pop-up, and I don't know, maybe they fall on your steps. It's icy outside, they slip and fall, and they sue you. Well, if you have an LLC, they will sue the company, but they won't be able to touch any of your personal assets. They won't be able to touch your personal savings account. They won't be able to go after your house to try to get payment for whatever their hospital bills are. They won't be able to take your vehicle if it's under your name and not your business name. So all that would go strictly to your business. So you're basically insuring against your own personal liability for anything that happens with the company. Anything that happens with the company only goes through the business. It doesn't go, puts like a wall between the two. It's like, you can't go past this wall. You can't take anything of mine personally if something happens. You can take my business assets, but you can't go after my personal savings account. You can't go after my IRA, whatever. So it really protects you as a business and company is what it does. It protects you from those crazies out there that will do whatever they can to get some money in case something happens. Or if your business just fails. And for some reason, hopefully that doesn't happen. If your business goes tank and you have to declare bankruptcy in your business for some reason, it keeps so that they can't go after anybody you owe, creditors. They cannot go after any of your personal assets. So that's the thing about an LLC. In Iowa, it's $50 to register as an LLC. And then every 2 years, you pay $30 just to renew your LLC. And then I think you have to send a biannual report of just your sales and things like that. So an LLC, if it's just you, you are viewed by the government still as a sole proprietor. So you're really a sole proprietor. However, you just have that extra protection. Now, when it comes to S Corps and things like that with LLCs, I really don't understand that. So if there's somebody who has some helpful information on why you would decide to do an S Corp or a partnership or something, if they want to chime in and add in, that would be great. But I don't know anything about that. So my thoughts were sole proprietorship and an LLC. Okay, so an S Corp is different from just a plain LLC, is what Jen's saying. So, okay, if you are an LLC, you need to have an EIN, which is an employer identification number. So an employer identification number is how the government just recognizes you and your business and your taxes. So when you get your taxes done as an LLC, I believe they are done separately than your personal finances. So you need the EIN. If you decide that you're going to hire people because you're just going to have someone do your administrative work while you're working on your sales, then you need an EIN to be able to hire people. A sole proprietor does not need an EIN. You can use your social security number in place of that. However, I wouldn't recommend that because then your social security number is out for whoever. So say you're going to open a boutique using My Amelia James, but you're also going to sell jewelry on the side of it, so you're going to find a jewelry wholesaler. They will want an EIN number. So can you imagine going to wholesalers and just giving them your social security number as your EIN number as a sole proprietor? I wouldn't recommend it. Not everybody is dishonest, but it just protects you again. So I would suggest getting an EIN number if you are a sole proprietor. Really simple. You go to the government website, irs.gov, and it took me, I think, 3 minutes to just fill out the form. This is where you need to know your business plan because you need to know if you're going to be a sole proprietor or an LLC because you have to put that. I just lost my place again. irs.gov is where you go. So that's how you get an EIN number. And as soon as I finished filling out the information, it popped up a screen and I had my EIN number right there and I printed it out and I was done. Really easy, really simple. Okay, if you decide that you're going to become an LLC, you need to go on the government website again, and that's another form that you submit online. Mommy. And it takes about 2 to 3 weeks from the time you submit your form online. Oh, he's showing you the weed pad.
Mommy, there's something wrong.
Okay, can you wait a couple minutes, please, and I'll help you? Okay. Drawbacks to getting a local LLC. I think the drawbacks would be you have to file reports with the government. And I don't know if it's biannually every year or just the year that you renew your LLC. Plus, it costs money. It costs $50, which that's a minimal expense startup. Those are the only things that I would see as the downside. So if you're trying to do it debt-free and you're just really limited, that might be the downside of starting an LLC. I'm really leaning towards going LLC just because I want that protection for me and my family. We work so hard that I don't want to end up not being able to send my kids to college because somebody sues me because they fell on my sidewalk outside. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get that. Yeah, I think it is worth the $50 if you think about it, because $50 now or $500,000 later, I mean, for me, it's worth it. So it will take 2 to 3 weeks to get your, at least in Iowa, it takes 2 to 3 weeks from the time you submit it online. You can go directly to your government office, and they will a lot of times just do it that same afternoon, and you can get your LLC done and registered that same afternoon. Okay, so we talked about the difference between sole proprietorship and LLC, the importance of getting your business plan going. Again, I'm not a tax professional. If you're going back and watching, if you're just joining, I'm not a tax professional. Still talk to your own tax professionals. Check your own state laws. Now, the EIN versus the Social Security number, I told you a little bit about that. It keeps your personal information private if you're a sole proprietor. You will need an EIN number if you are purchasing from some wholesalers. If you plan to have hiring that you do, you need an EIN number because that's how you will claim their taxes. And then when you get your EIN, or have employees, when you do your EIN number, make sure you know if you're going to be a sole proprietor or LLC first. You can go back and change it. So I put myself as a sole proprietor before I was finished with all my research, but now I have to go back in and contact the government and have them change all my information to an LLC when I decide to do that. So it's better that you do it right the first time instead of going back, because I didn't think through it, and then I got the information I needed, and then I was like, oh, well, LLC makes sense. So now I have to change my EIN. My EIN number might stay the same because I think they said as a sole proprietor, you're seen as a sole proprietor, but like my retail tax permit, I'm going to have to get that changed. Okay, there's no fee to get your EIN number. There's no fee to register as a sole proprietor. Oh, thank you. You're nice. You're so nice. And then there is a fee to do an LLC. Okay, so far there's no fees for 2 things. There's fees for 1 thing. You can go to irs.gov again to get your EIN number, and that's literally 3 minutes as well. And like I said, I printed that off, and I had that within 5 minutes of going online and getting that started. Okay, so now tax permits. Let's go on to that. Am I going too long? This is a long video. I'm sorry. A lot of information. So your sales tax permit. Okay, thanks, Jen. I guess you can always pause it and go back and replay it, right? If you get a little bit information overload. You gonna cheese for the camera? Let's take a minute to let our brains just pause and rest and enjoy this little guy here. Yeah, you're crazy. Yep, he's getting ready. Can you say hi? They're saying hi to you. Can you say hi back? You're just gonna giggle. Yeah. So he can't get his computer to work. Can you guys hold on a second so I can get his game started? Is that okay? Do you guys mind if I take just a second to get his game started? Please? Please? I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, let's go.
It's not working. There's a mystery. There's a mystery on the game pad.
Okay. There you go.
What is the game pad? There's a mystery. There's a mystery on the
Okay.
game pad.
Thanks for the heart. Sorry for those of you that just
Mommy,
joined. I'm helping my son.
There's a mystery on the game pad.
Can you figure out the mystery?
No.
Oh, well, I'll help you in a little bit. I keep telling him a little bit. Gotta love kids. I love them. I love them to death. Wouldn't have it any other way, but some days I'm just like, really? Some days I hide in my car. Have any of you guys ever done that? Gone out to your car in the garage just to have some quiet? Yeah. Hey, good. How are you? Thanks for the hearts. I always love hearts. They're great. Okay, so let's go on to sales tax permits. With my Amelia James, you will need to collect your own sales tax. So what you need to do is get a retail sales tax permit. You can do that on the government websites too. And something very important too, make sure all the websites you're going to for your business are .gov addresses. There are lots of places that offer their services, but you don't want to get taken by anybody. You just want to make sure that you're doing everything through the government websites. So please go make sure it says .gov. The Small Business Association has, state site is your state site, your state revenue. For us, it's Iowa Department of Revenue for your sales permit tax or your sales tax permit that you need to get. So here's how sales tax works, at least for Iowa. This is what I found out. You have to have a permit so that whenever you sell an item of clothing, you're going to collect tax on that item. You're going to want a separate account with your business accounts because you're going to want to funnel that to an account where it just sits. And monthly, quarterly, or yearly, you are going to have to pay that money. Yes, they only pay taxes if they're in your state. So if I'm in Iowa, if someone buys clothing from me, whether online or in person in Iowa, I have got to charge sales tax. So the rule for charging sales tax is I will charge based on where I am located. So if someone buys from me at my home, they will charge, I will charge them 7% because that's what the tax is at my home. If someone lives in another city than me, like Des Moines, a bigger city, and their tax rate is 6% and they're buying through the internet, I will charge them the tax of where they live. Does that make sense? If it's in person, if I travel to Des Moines and sell in person, I will charge the tax rate based on where I am physically located. So if I'm in Des Moines, I'm going to charge 6%. If I'm in another small town where I live and our tax rate is 7%, I'm going to charge 7% if they buy from me in my town. If they buy it online in my state and they're not in my town, I only charge the tax rate of where they are located. So it might be different. Now, if they are in another state, you do not have to collect sales tax. You can, you just don't. They told me at the Small Business Association there's a law about that and stuff, but you do not have to collect sales tax. So if I'm in Iowa and someone in Michigan buys off of my website, I will just charge them for the clothing and then I will charge them for the shipping. I will not figure tax, Iowa tax or Michigan tax on that, only if they're in the same state. So then what you do with this permit, it's telling the government basically that you're going to be collecting retail tax, and based on the amount of tax that you project that you're going to collect, you kind of have to guess on this form when you fill it out. If you collect $10 or less in sales tax in a year, then, in a quarter, then you can just pay sales tax to the state yearly. In Iowa, if it's between $10 and $500 in sales tax that you're going to collect, then you have to pay those taxes quarterly. If it's more than that, then you have to pay the state's revenue department the sales tax monthly. So it just depends on how much business you're going to do. You can choose to do it monthly, but if you're really not doing that many sales, it's kind of pointless to go on just to pay them $10 when you can wait until you're all the way up to $500 before you pay them. This is what I would suggest. For your separate account for your retail tax that you collect in your state, remember you're not going to collect tax on anybody outside of your state, but in your state, according to your state laws for taxes, that money that you collect, so I make a sale, I'm going to automatically move that tax directly to another account, maybe a savings account. This is a good way to work your business. Put that money in a savings account that earns interest, because it's going to sit in there for maybe a quarter, maybe a year, depending on how much taxes you have or you're going to pay. Can you imagine if I just left that in my business checking account? It's just sitting there. The chances of it getting spent, and then it's time to pay the tax bill, and I've spent this retail tax that I'm owed to this, I owe to my state. Or I can move it out of my business checking account, put it into a business savings account or another account, QBs. Oh, QuickBooks. I haven't decided. It's expensive. My husband thinks we can find some versions that are a little bit cheaper. So I think I might need to, but I'm also thinking about doing a Shopify website, and Shopify actually keeps track of all your inventory. It is a little bit more costly. I think the basic plan is $29 a month. But if I don't have to buy QuickBooks and it can all be done there from my website, that's kind of what we're looking at doing right now instead of using QuickBooks. Because that just feels like, oh, community college bookstore, yeah. And if my husband actually is a college student right now, so we could probably even, sometimes you can get QuickBooks or computer programs. There's a website that lets you, as a student, buy programs that you use for cheaper. So we might do that too for QuickBooks. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, if you are in college or you are married to someone in college, they can buy cheaper programs at deeply discounted rates for being a student. So so anyway, I'm going to move the sales tax directly from my checking account, and yeah, they'll probably sell it there for less at the bookstore too. I'm going to move that to my savings account because I'm going to earn interest on that sales tax as it sits there, because technically it's my money until I owe it to the state. So why not collect interest? It's not going to be a ton, but let it work for you. Let it earn money for you. And then when it's time to pay your tax bill based on your report for how much retail tax you collected, you just take that out, and then your interest stays in your savings account. I think that's legal. Someone let me know if it's not legal. I don't want to tell you guys to do something illegal, but there's nothing saying that you can't earn interest as that money sits, because it would be, yeah, it's legal. Okay. I would suggest putting all your retail tax in a savings account that earns interest. Just another way to make your money work smarter, not harder, right? Another way to make your money work for you. So again, it takes 3 minutes to apply for the sales tax permit. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks to actually get that. So, yeah, federal income tax too is a big one too. Put it in a savings account, let it earn money so that when you pay your taxes at the end of the year, because you will, about 15%, you'll have to pay out of your profit. And then on top of that, you might have your business expenses, but in Iowa it's 15% for sole proprietor or whatever. So I'm going to move that aside too and let that sit in a savings account and accrue interest until it's time to pay them. I don't do quarterly. I'm not going to do the quarterly payments that you can prepay your taxes, because I'm like, I'm going to have business expenses. Why would I give them money before we know if I even owe them that much money? Because once we figure in all my business expenses, I might owe them less than what I've set aside in the 15% based on my deductions. So don't give them the money until it's time to give them the money, because then you might have to wait for a refund. Yeah, it's at least 15%. I know in Iowa it's 15%. My husband's a pastor, so he's technically, even though he works for a church, he's considered self-employed. So we actually pay 15% on his income, and we wait till the end of the year and just pay it at the end of the year, because again, we could do estimated taxes and pay all year long, but then we'd have to wait for a refund at the end of the year, and we're giving away more money than we need to. Self-employment, yeah, and I'm not sure, sometimes that's a few percent. How much is self-employment tax, Jen? Do you know? And that might be different based on each state too. I'm looking at your picture like I'm talking to you, like you're going to talk back. Isn't that funny? If you know, Jen, if you can put it, okay, 15.2. Yeah. So roughly it's like 30%, I think, when it's all said and done. It's expensive. Okay. Check with your state though. Check with your tax professional. They'll tell you exactly how much to set aside, so you don't get that great big bill at the end of the year and then have no way to pay it. So, okay, a few minutes to apply, 4 to 6 weeks, you'll get your sales tax permit. I do believe you have to have that before you start collecting sales tax. Or at least it's best to operate to have that before you start collecting sales tax. Okay, so those were the main things that I was going to talk about today. Yeah, 25%, that sounds about right. I know it's a lot. You almost give away half of your earnings as a small business owner. Sadly. So that's why if you can hold on to it as long as you can and let it earn some money for you, that would be great before you just pay it quarterly. So we talked about, hopefully that's helped you with some of those questions that some people have had on Facebook, and really anybody who's looking to open their own, yeah, profit, not sales. It is not on your sales. Sales is different than profit. This is what you make after you have paid your business expenses and your inventory and paid to replace your inventory. That's what profit is. Okay, so there's a couple other things I added to my list. One other thing I wanted to talk about to do before you do anything. Make sure you go by the rules. And here's why. I was going to open a boutique in my house, and I was also going to do online sales. And I talked to the Small Business Administration, and they said the state of Iowa does not sorry, I feel like I'm choking here. The state of Iowa doesn't have any laws on having a business in your home. They don't care. I could run a business in my home. However, I needed to check with my town to see if there are any ordinances in my town about going into business and running a business. So she told me to call City Hall. So if you have a City Hall in your town, call City Hall. I did that, and come to find out, my home, where we're located, we're just a couple blocks south of the main square in town, but I'm far enough away from the square in town that my house is not zoned for being able to do business. So if I were to just start my boutique and start having people coming to my house to shop and letting them come in, I would get into trouble because I wouldn't be following the ordinance of my town. First off, that ruins my integrity as a business owner. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are seen as a person who has integrity and morals in your company, because that is only going to help you as you have your sales. That's only going to help you as you earn customers. Think about if you live in a small town like me with like 2,500 to 3,000 people, and my name gets around that I'm not following the ordinances of the city, that pretty much kills my business right there, just in my town, just because I'm not following the laws. Now, there are things that the laws don't go along with what you want. There are things you can do about it. So basically, that was my whole plan, and I was so disappointed. I'm like, man, I shot myself in the foot because here I wanted to have a boutique in my house. I'd made plans for how I was going to make my boutique look and make people have people come. And I'm like, what do I do now? So I called City Hall and I talked to one of the guys there, and he basically told me that I can appeal to the board, the zoning board, and ask them for a variance on our property so that I would be able to run my business out of my home. And he told me that if I was doing just online website, if I was doing pop-ups, if I was going to vendor and craft fairs, it's fine. I don't have to do anything. But if I wanted to have people coming to my home to look at clothing and trying them on and making sales at my home in person with somebody, not over the internet, but in person, I would have to appeal to the board. And so it cost $50 for me to convene the board and to make an appeal for them to rezone my house. What they will do is they will send a letter to all of my neighbors within 200 feet of me, and they will get to have a voice at the appeals hearing. And basically, they will tell me, I will appeal to them, this is what I want to do, this is how it's going to help the community. I don't foresee it's going to be by appointment only, so there's not going to be a lot of traffic on our street. So basically, this law is protecting our neighborhood and giving the neighbors a chance to put their feedback in there. And I just want to be kind to my neighbors, so I don't want to do anything that they're going to get upset about. And so even if they would vote no that I couldn't do that out of my home, I'll make my business work how I need to work to make it successful. So if I can't have people coming to my home, I'm still going to make a boutique in my home, because then when I do videos and online sales, they're still going to get the boutique shopping experience. I'm just going to follow the ordinances of my town because I want to be seen with integrity, and I want to be seen as somebody who is trustworthy within my community and with my business. The other thing too is that we also represent my Amelia James, or LuLaRoe, or Agnes&Dora, or whoever you're with. If you have a distributor or a wholesaler that's giving you items, you are in a sense representing them. So when you kind of don't follow the laws of your town, even though your state says one thing and your town says something different, you're tarnishing that name that you're distributing for as well. We kind of joke in my family about apologize later if you want to do something. Well, I'll just apologize later. Well, I've kind of been convicted that I need to stop saying that, because in essence what I'm saying is I know probably what I'm about to do is something that's going to tick somebody off, or it isn't going to be following laws or rules. But when I say I'll just apologize later, that basically says I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. I'll just apologize later and smooth the ruffle feathers later, acting like I didn't know or didn't have an idea that that wasn't something I was supposed to do. Let's just do it right the first time. Yeah. I mean, when I hear that now, when I hear someone say, oh, we'll just apologize later, I'm like, no. Because that's basically you saying that you know what you're about to do isn't the right thing to do. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Go the high road. It might be harder. It might cause you to work harder. But the harder you work without taking shortcuts, the more profitable your business is going to be, the better you look, the more trustworthy you are. You guys, just do it the right way. Do it the right way. Nothing worth attaining in life is ever easy. So if it's too easy, you're not working hard enough. Sorry, rant over. Hi, Jenny. Thanks for joining. You can go back and catch some of it later too if there's something you miss. So anyway, this was something I wish I would have done before I did my business plan, because again, we talked about having your business plan being the very first thing that you start off doing, because yeah, Jiminy Cricket won't let me sleep at night. Yeah. Because now I have to kind of rewrite my business plan, because a big part of my business plan was opening my home to have customers come in. So now I have to go back and change that and figure out how I'm going to make my business work now. Where if I would have got all the information first, then my business plan would have been a piece of cake. Now I have to add this other step. So if there is any way that my mistakes can help you guys, let it be a help to you, because I don't want to see somebody have to go in. Now I'm going to have to do double work to figure out how I'm going to make this happen. It'll be okay. It'll be fine. It'll work. Lots of people do stuff. And I even have now the city guy calling me, and he's offered so much help to me, and he has just been so kind just because I asked. And I said up front, I want to make sure I'm abiding by the laws of our town. I want to make sure that I am operating the way that my business should operate, the best way for our town, and the way that follows the rules. And man, when you say that to people and you start with that, they just bend over backwards to help you. So he's like, well, hey, here's the person that you need to do this with, and you might need to talk to this person and do this. He was offering me ways to help get my variance. I'm still going to go for it, and I'm going to appeal to the board to get the variance, but that could be a couple-month process. But for the meantime, I'm going to make adjustments, and I'm going to follow the law and follow the rules until they either tell me, no, we're not going to make a concession for you, or yes, go ahead. Thank you for following the rules. We're going to let you do what you'd like to do now. So that was a lot of talking. I like to talk. Sometimes that's a problem, because here, I don't even know how long I've been on Periscope, and it's getting addicting, and I really like it. And it's like I'm talking to adults and not kids. You know, like my son here. Yeah, just a minute. That's great. I like talking to my kids. But good. I hope this was helpful to you guys. So if it was helpful, will you give me some hearts, please? And if you have any questions about anything that I've researched, or maybe you don't understand something I said, or I was a little fuzzy, thanks. Whoosh. I love watching those hearts go up the screen. It's just so pretty. If you have any questions, please email me. Please connect with me on Twitter. I'm under the same handle on Twitter. I haven't put much out there because I just am working on purchasing my kit. I did the first part of my purchase yesterday, and I told you that what happened with the bank and how they put a hold and freeze on my account because I was using so much money, and they thought somebody was trying to steal my money, which is good. So I'm waiting to finalize my kit purchase, so I'm waiting to do that before I add anything else up on social media. So at Amelia James Jill here on Periscope. My email address at Gmail is myameliajamesbyjill@gmail.com. So thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for bearing with me and my son. I appreciate that too. You guys are sweet. And best of luck to all of you who are working on starting your own business. Yes, the lady I referenced in the beginning, her name is Christy Wright, Christy, and Wright is WRIGHT. Look up Business Boutique. She has like a teal kind of backdrop to it. She's blonde. If you look up Dave Ramsey online too, Dave Ramsey, or if you follow him on Facebook, he posts about Christy Wright. Yes, Dave Ramsey. Thank you. But Business Boutique, and her name is Christy Wright, and I've just learned so much from her, just not even from a book, just from her podcasts. And I follow her on Facebook. I follow her on Twitter. And also there's those free downloadable plans. If you choose to follow her on Twitter and things like that, you can get those. She does have a book. I think it launches in March. And then she also just started offering a couple months ago, I noticed, free, or not free, one-on-one consultations. So if you want to work with somebody, she has a team of people that you'll do video conferencing with them and things like that, that she'll just really help you take your business. She's very successful doing what she loves, and what she loves is helping people like us. So I love her for that, and I appreciate that. So if anything, I want to pass on what she did for me to you guys. So hopefully this will help you guys out. And as I get going on my boutique, I will start showing you progress in our rooms and things like that. I think we're going to start tomorrow clearing a room and going from there. So I think it's time for me to shut up and contact me if you need anything, okay? Thanks, guys. Thank you, Jen. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.